So we're starting here in line 340 on page 38. And if you remember, we've just heard about the singer Phemius begging for his life. Okay, he's been deciding whether to rely on Zeus or whether to go and beg Odysseus, and he decides to do that. And so we start with toi. Now these are both particles, meaning so indeed or something like that. He, ho, katetheke. Now tithemi is a verb meaning to put, and kata means down, so you put down. And then the object is forminga glafuren. Forminga meaning the lyre, and glafuren is an adjective meaning hollow. So you put down the hollow lyre, kamazde, on the ground. Mes egus, this is a word which means between things, and it takes genitive. So between the kreteros, the mixing bowl, and ide, that's another word for kai, and the thronu arguro elu, right? A thronos is a chair, like a throne in English, and arguro elu means studded with silver, something like that, silver studded. And because arguron is silver, like argentum in Latin. Autos de, and he himself, and then aute here means something like in turn. I didn't actually translate that word here. I don't think we need to. He himself, pros aixas, having rushed forward, participle, aorist participle, having rushed forward, he took Odysseus, labe Odyssea, literally of his knees, guno. In English, we would say by his knees. Kai min lysomenos, and begging him, right? Min in Homer is like auton in later Greek, it means him. Begging him, he spoke pros euda, epeapteroenta, winged words. Right, which is a phrase that we've heard lots of times already in this text. And now we hear his speech to Odysseus. Okay, he says, Gunumai, I beg you. Okay, I beg you, or I beseech you. Odysseus, okay, Odysseu is the vocative form. And then he says, you, su, idea me, respect me. Dare, I didn't translate here. Respect me or revere me, kai eleison me, right? Pity me. Right? If you remember, we talked before about church services which sometimes include Kyrie eleison, Lord have mercy, and Christe eleison, Christ have mercy. Right? This is the same word that you get here in Homer, have mercy on me, have pity on me. And then he says, here, toi is like soy, it's the dative meaning for you. So for you yourself, auto, okay, and you can recognize the dative here from the iota subscript. For you yourself, there will be essetai, third person singular future tense of Amy, there will be akos, sorrow, afterwards, metopiste, if a, and that word a is sometimes accompanied by ken, which like an in later Greek just makes it sort of indefinite or uncertain, right? We're talking about something that could happen rather than something that will happen, right? So if you kill Pefnes, so this is a subjunctive because we're imagining a situation, right? If you kill the singer, Aoidon, and he's talking about himself, right? If you kill me, the singer, hos aido, who sings, right? And aido is first person singular because he's of course talking about himself. The singer who sings, te theoisi, both to the gods, kai anthropoisin, and to humans and to people. And then he says, autodidactos Amy. I am self-taught. I am an autodidact, is another way of putting it in English. And I wouldn't worry about der here. I am self-taught, theos der, and the god. Right, now this might be Apollo specifically, or he might be talking about the gods more generally. The god has implanted, has put inside enephusen, and this takes dative, so has implanted for me, moi, in my mind, enfresin, literally in my wits or in my thoughts, oimas, that means songs, pantoias, of all kinds, right? Various songs of different types. So he's saying, look, I wasn't taught to sing. It's something that, in a way, comes naturally to me, right? It is a divine gift. And therefore, I have a close relationship with the gods, and so you shouldn't kill me. That seems to be his argument. And then he says, he now wants to flatter Odysseus. He says, Eoika, I seem to paraiding, this means to sing before someone, to sing in the presence of someone, and it takes dative. So I seem to sing before you, toi, which is the same as soy, to sing before you, hos tetheo, as before a god. So he's flattering Odysseus. He's saying, when I sing to you, it is as if I am singing to a god. Right? You are like a god, Odysseus. Okay. And then he says, to, therefore, me lilayer, do not desire, to deirotomesai, to behead, and then the object is me. Right now, this here, deirotomesai, this is connected to the word for a neck, deira, and then also the verb tomeo, to cut. So literally to neck cut me, i.e. to behead me, to cut my head off. Okay, and then going on a bit, we now are in line 350. He then tries, Phemius then tries another argument, which is, oh, and your son would agree with me as well. So he says, Kai Telemachus as well, would say apoi. And here we have apoi, an optative form, again with ken, because he's talking about what would happen, not what is happening, but what would happen, right? Telemachus would say these things as well. So tade is these things. And then I didn't translate ge, the particle there. And then he describes Telemachus, just in case Odysseus has forgotten who Telemachus is. Sos philos huios, your dear son, right? So he's saying, look, Telemachus, your dear son, someone whose judgment you trust, he would agree with me. Okay. And he would back up, he would support, he would confirm the story which I'm about to tell you. And the story is, hos ego, that I, u hekon. Hekon means willing or willingly. U hekon, udekatisdon, nor wanting, neither willing nor wanting. And then te, I didn't translate here, te, you could translate as at all or something, but I wouldn't really bother. Neither willing nor wanting. I polumen, imperfect tense. I used to frequent, I used to come often, son domon, into your house. To sing, I somenos, literally being about to sing. It's a future participle expressing purpose. Right? I used to come to frequent your house to sing for the suitors, mner stersin, dative case, dative plural. For the suitors, metadaitas. Okay, a daita is a feast. And here meta plus accusative, it can mean after, but so it might mean after feasts, or it could just mean at feasts, during feasts. But Allah, they ergon, imperfect of ago, they used to lead me or bring me by force, ananker, right? Ananker means force or necessity or compulsion, related to the verb anankasdo, to force someone to do something. And here you can tell from the iota subscript that it's dative, like by force. They used to leave me by force. Polupleones, much pleones, much more numerous, right? There were more of them than of me. Kai kresones, and stronger. So he's saying, you know, look, yes, I used to sing for these suitors, but, you know, what could I do, right? They used to come and bring me to the house, and how could I resist them when they were outnumbering me and they were stronger than me? That's his point. And that's the end of his speech. And luckily, Telemachus is around to confirm what Phemius said. Okay, so we get ho sphatos, so he spoke. And then we get this rather strange phrase, the hiereis. Hieros means sacred or holy, like a hieron, neuter noun, which is a temple. And is means something like strength, which is like the Latin vis. So literally the sacred strength of Telemachus, telemakoia, which is just a respectful way of saying Telemachus, a way of making Telemachus sound impressive. The sacred strength of Telemachus, erkuse tu, heard him. Right, the verb akuo, if you hear a thing, like a speech, it takes accusative, but if you hear a person, it takes genitive. So that's why tu is genitive here. So Telemachus heard him, and he quickly, ipsa, addressed pros ephonein, his father, heion patera, literally eonta engus, being near. You could say who was near. And eonta is accusative. So it is therefore agreeing with patera, the father. Right? So he addressed his father who was near to him, who was close by to him. And then we get a little speech from Telemachus. And he starts with an imperative, iskeo, which means restrain yourself, hold yourself back. Mede means and not, right? So, and here it's part of an imperative, and do not utire, do not stab. And then te, again, we don't need to translate here. You could say at all or something. Tuton, this man, who is described as an aition, which means guiltless. Because in Greek, the adjective aitios means responsible for something or guilty of something. So an aitios means without guilt, not responsible for something. So do not stab this guiltless man with bronze, calco. Again, you can tell this is dative because of the iota subscript. So with bronze, or you could say with your sword. And then he says, Kai sa osomen, subjunctive, and let us save, right? This is a suggestion rather than a fact, which is why it's subjunctive. Let us save the herald, keruka, Medon, right? Or Medon. So his name is, put it in here, his name is Medon, like that. But it's third declension, so the genitive is medontos, and here you have the accusative medonta. So let us save the herald Medon, who, hos, always, ia, and then we have this imperfect tense, cared esketor, right? Caredos means care. So cared esketor, used to take care, used to care, and it takes genitive, meu, used to care for me, always used to care for me, oiko en hermetero, in our house, en plus dative, en hermetero oiko. And again, you can recognize the dative from those iota subscripts. And I didn't translate te here. Okay, and meu, as I said, is genitive, following keresketor. And then agreeing with that is paidos eontos, being a child. Or you could say, when I was a child, right? So those are both genitive, agreeing with meu. So he says, let's save Medon if indeed, if indeed, Philoetios, me epefne min, has not killed him, right? So let's save Medon so long as he's not already dead, so long as he hasn't already been killed. If indeed Philoetios has not killed him, or the swineherd, subotes, right, which refers to Eumaeus, of course, or he antebolesen, he encountered, he came across, and this verb takes dative, so he came across you, soy, orinomeno, raging, okay, katadoma, through the house. And we have to be careful here to notice that orinomeno is dative, right? Iota subscript is a clue of that. And because it's dative, it's referring to soy, right, Odysseus, not to the herald Medon. So I actually changed my translation there a little bit just to clarify that, right? He encountered you as you were raging through the house, right? The raging refers to Odysseus, not to the herald Medon. So, Telemachus is saying, let's save this herald Medon, assuming that, or so long as he has not already been killed either by Philoetius or by the swineherd Eumaeus, or indeed by Odysseus himself. Okay, and that takes us to the end of page 40 to line 360.